I'm Dr. Akeranda Smith. I'm a life coach, professor, and a thought leader. Hi, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Dr. Ike. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button, and let's dive right in. So lately, I've been talking about self-worth and how we can only go higher than our parents' perception of us. And so I thought it would be very befitting to end this series with talking about self-worth and self-actualization. And you can only get to self-actualization when you have situated your ego in its prospective place. That comes with learning that the world is your teacher and you are always learning something no matter what is going on. So that means that when things happen in your life and different situations arise, it's really less about the person and more so what is it for you to learn. So when you get to that place in life where you can put your ego to the side, you are now stepping into a place of self-actualization and really learning that it is not about you. I was raised to believe that I was bad versus the behavior was bad. Or not necessarily bad, but the behavior was something that I needed to be mindful of. When you're raised to believe that you're bad rather than what you're doing needs to be considered or checked or corrected, you grow up and you miss a lot of lessons because you are often riddled with shame and guilt. You are immediately on the defensive when you're challenged. And you don't really want to be, but you don't know any other way to be. As a child, I was raised by a mother who didn't know how to convey the message. And when a message cannot be conveyed, you cannot learn. So the world became my teacher at a very early age. And you never want that. You want your home, your family dynamic to be your first teacher. So that when you get out into the world, now the world just becomes a series of lessons, but you're prepared for them because you've had a great teacher, i.e. your parents. That was my first backdrop in learning about my ego in a very bad way, because my mom, she didn't know how to situate her ego in a way to not be mad at what I was doing and not take it personally and separate those two things and look at me as a child who was still learning and ask me sometimes, hey, what were you trying to achieve? Because if this is what you was trying to achieve, maybe you should go about it this way. She had no bandwidth for that. And so I struggled a lot. And I never shall forget when I entered into the workforce and I was in my 20s and I was a teacher and I was met with a challenge. I was pulled into the office by my supervisor and she was speaking to me about one of my colleagues who felt slighted about how I would show up with her sometimes. And to be fair, it wasn't even a reprimand. She was really lovingly pulling me to the side and saying, hey, because I love you, because I value you, this is something that was brought to my attention. And I even know that the person that brought it to my attention doesn't even really know that you don't even mean to be that way. You just are young and still learning, because the particular colleague that had mentioned it to my supervisor was older than I was. But she valued me. And I didn't see that. And so my supervisor was bringing it to my attention that, hey, when she sees you, she lights up. You have a way with people and you don't get to withhold a gift that comes easily for you when you don't feel like it. And at the moment, I couldn't receive it. My ego was in the way because I immediately felt attacked. I was like, well, first of all, I was embarrassed because I felt like, why would she come and tell you and not tell me? But that was my ego. That was my immature mind, that it wasn't that she came to my supervisor. She didn't feel like she could come to me. And sometimes when a person doesn't feel like they can come to you, they go to the next best person. And I don't feel like she went to any of my other colleagues because she didn't want to bring them into it, right? This is my mature mind talking today. But my immature mind couldn't see that. Consider that she really values you and she looks forward to it when she sees you. So, long story short, when I continued to work there, I began to challenge myself to say, what is it that I'm missing? And what I realized is the very thing she said is that who I was to her, she looked forward to everything about me. And when I got that, I gave it to her freely and all the time. As a matter of fact, I gave it to all my colleagues because it did come easy. And what I realized in life is that when your parents have rigid belief systems, they limit your ability to grow. And my mom, she loved me, but she limited my ability to grow because my mom was the kind of mom that when I was mad about something, she would be mad about it. And when you have people in your life, be it your parent, be it a sibling, be it your spouse, and they co-sign on things in life that is really a lesson for you to learn, you don't learn it. When I was met with challenges in my life, I realized very quickly that I couldn't go to my mom because she would be on 10 right along with me. And sometimes you don't need a person to be on 10. Sometimes you need a person to hear your angst about a situation and say, well, have you considered? Did you think about this? Well, let's look at the whole person. And my mom wasn't that person. She was the kind of person that could not give me sound advice because her ego would allow her to feel the very same way about something that I did. And when you feel the same way about a situation that a person feels, you can't help them. It's like the blind leading the blind. You cancel each other out. I had a lot of tough lessons to learn in life because I didn't have a parent that was able to situate their ego and help me to see that when they were frustrated, when I did something that they didn't approve of, they didn't have the patience to say, okay, what were you trying to achieve? My mom's rigid belief systems, they limited my ability to grow for a while until I was able to learn this very lesson that I'm teaching you. So to be self-actualized is to be insignificant. It's to see the bigger goal, the bigger picture, rather than see yourself. And oftentimes, when you haven't learned from a parent who was able to situate their ego to the side, everything is a thing. You're always on the defensive, you feel attacked, and you feel like everything is about you, when really it's not. You often miss a lot of lessons because you can't step outside of your own feelings and emotions and see a bigger picture. And one of my favorite all-time characters and series is the Game of Thrones. One of my favorite characters in the Game of Thrones was Arya Stark. And I never forget a particular series. She went through a season where she had to become no one. And she had to become no one because she had to be able to forget her family legacy, name, and everything in order to get the lessons that she would need in order to be able to prepare for the next season that she was going into. So she had to lose her ego. Had she not been able to do that, she wouldn't have been able to pass all the other tests in the next season that was coming. In order to be self-actualized in life, you have to love becoming insignificant. You have to realize that some stuff is not about you. It's less about you and more so about the other person. Because everybody that has reached a level of self-actualization, you realize that even when you are going through a difficult time with a situation, it is never really about the person. It's always about, what am I to learn from this? And whether that person realizes the same thing for them, it doesn't matter. You know it. We have to get to a place in life that your lessons are for you to get. So, comment below and tell me about your journey to self-actualization. I would love to hear the lessons that you've learned and the lessons that you're still learning. Also, I've been doing a book series on books that have changed my life. I drop a new video every Friday, and I would love to hear, have you read some of the books that I've shared? Because I truly believe that we don't choose books, they choose us. As always, thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you next week, same time, same place.